1 second delay in this room, so I'll be very careful. May I start by saying how incredibly proud and pleased I am to be part of Scott, Sarah and Erin's big day. I think you'll all agree with me when I say that I think you make a great couple and a fantastic family. Sarah, you look truly stunning today, and even Scotty looks bleeding gorgeous. And as my dad used to say, just keep your shirt tucked in and your socks pulled up, and we'll be alright, mate. He was no Mourinho, it's fair to say. As I've been introduced, my name is Paul, and I've had the unique privilege of calling Scott Scotty for 24 years now, man and boy. And I felt like an adopted and valued member of the Mackenzie family for as long as I can remember.
Absolutely right.
Although, when Scott went to Cardiff University, moved to Birmingham, then London, Brighton, London again, and then Duncan and Lorraine emigrated to Canada, I learned not to take it personally. Although I still have counselling on Thursdays, and my sponsor says I'm doing much better since I reduced my medicines programme. When Scott phoned me to say he'd gotten engaged, I was overjoyed and privately relieved, as I just didn't know how much longer Sarah could survive without touching the remote control to see if there was in fact anything else on TV other than sport. So when he asked me to one of his best men, I was totally made up. And I could not wait to return the honour he'd undertaken for me just over a year ago. Although when he said it was to be a non-religious civil ceremony, I started to panic. For in my eagerness, I'd already gained agreement from the Vatican for the Pope to fly over and bless me. When he told me that his father's services were no longer required, he took it well, shrugged his shoulders, put his Celtic scarf back in the vault, and took the Sistine Chapel cap. But I'm pleased to see that he still decided to come over for a sightseeing holiday anyway. Whilst racking my brains to write this speech, I honestly can't pinpoint the exact moment I first met Scotty. But my earliest memory is of a skinny kid in a football shirt, shorts pulled up around his armpits, with a strange accent I could not totally understand. And if I'm honest, he smelled a bit funny. But after the hours we spent on the training grounds and pitches, with much support and encouragement from Scott's dad Duncan, we formed an unbreakable bond. I feel only comparable to that of a brother, let's mutual. In all these years, I've never failed to be amazed by his dedication, tenacity, enthusiasm for the game, his ability to nutmeg me at every opportunity, and to commit a defender before going over in the box. In fact, I've lost count how many times the centre forward turned to me in frustration, wanting some retribution as Scott won us yet another penalty. I could go on all day about various football matches we've played in and even against each other, almost getting sent off for laughing at each other on one occasion. I don't think the referee knew what to do with this on that one. And hell, I even went to the extent of pulling a hamstring in a cup final after 13 minutes just to get him on the pitch. But it's only fair to say that they were fantastic times, and I'll always look back on them with much satisfaction. And it must be noticed that in his darkest hour, with a double compound fracture of his leg, he had the future Mrs. Mackenzie Nightingale by his side to nurse him back to full recovery. You could say she had him up in no time with her own magic sponge. And as for the smell, not only was I to discover addictions of my own brew and wine gums, but Mackenzie loved curry and spicy food has turned me from a boiled beef and carrots unbeliever into a jalfrezi advocate. I sincerely thank you. Now, many of you will know that Scott is a 21st century metrosexual man, but it was at Heriot Parkway School that Scott, Simon and James, both present here today, I'm pleased to see, and I all met, and we observed his early eagerness to get into the kitchen. For we can confirm that it was here in these teenage years that he first demonstrated his interest in home economics, by egging his English teacher on the final day of term. I have no doubt that this has led to his infamous Mackenzie fry-up, of which I have been the beneficiary on many occasions. So, if a chef and box diver does not impress you enough, he's also one of the few people I know who even enjoys golf. I know golf. For it was on our frequent walks home, after a few drinks and a night out in the town, that Scott, James, Simon and I all used to cut across the local golf course, where Scott insisted upon paying a very personal call. at the third hole. Just a baptism. Now that's what I call dedication and why I call it. At this stage, I must also make the point to Scott's mum Lorraine. Right, Scott. After these late night walk homes, we usually return to Scott's house, where we raided the fridge and a kitchen tea towel fight regularly ensued. I've always been the first to own up, tell the truth, and when I've done wrong, tell the truth when I've done wrong. So when we kept you awake and you had to go to Scott for, making all the noise and keeping you up, I have to admit it, I'm sorry. It was all James's fault. So, from our tentative years, it was also clear that Scott had a business acumen, and I seem to remember him excelling in chairing the school fashion show committee. Whilst James presented, Simon ran the technical department, and I focused on health and safety. Oh yeah, okay, put the chairs out, fair enough. At the time, I did not acknowledge how much interest Scott had in the clothing itself, or secretly how much he wanted to get physically involved. Fortunately for everyone that went to the stag do, this dream was to be realised. And for those of you who are wondering what I'm talking about, then all I'm saying is he makes a lovely Linda Carter. With this beautiful image in mind, I just take the opportunity to say a big thank you to my fellow best man, Richie, for helping to organise such a fantastic stag do and taking the time and trouble to find the only Scottish pub in Budapest, as well as introducing us all to Scott the Snake Man Mackenzie. It's fair to say that Scott was a great sport and took a lot on his shoulders that weekend. And as Richie said, I reiterate the special thanks to all the chaps who made Budapest such a success. It was much appreciated. To almost wrap up proceedings, I feel it necessary to point out that Scott does have one weakness to my knowledge. It's probably in the home removal business, which is why I'm only too keen to help out. For it was during his move to Haywards Heath, a good move as it turned out, that we were on the M23 when Scott, driving the hired white van, looked at me and said, "What's that red light next to the petrol pump on the dashboard mean?" At this point, I knew it was going to be a long day. However, we made it to the next junction and located a petrol station almost immediately, which allowed us to continue on our way. Thinking I was saved, we finally pulled up at number 3 Triangle Road, only for Scott to walk up to the front door and then discover he'd left his keys in Swindon. As we've grown up together, I've appreciated how lucky I've been to be a part of your family, and I've thoroughly enjoyed watching you successfully change jobs, adapt to new homes, become a proud uncle, meet a wonderful lady, even if she does support Newcastle, like I did one today, and become a father yourself and a beautiful daughter. I'm so pleased to be here on yet another great occasion in your life, Scott, and I thank you and Sarah for making me part of it. I just hope I've done the time justice. After 1 year, I have little advice to offer you in the marriage stakes, other than laugh with each other, laugh at each other, and remember to laugh at yourselves. Nikki and I wish you a very happy, long life together, and we'll do everything we can to ensure that we do. May I ask you all to be upstanding and raise a glass to the Mackenzie family. To the Mackenzie family. Thank you very much for being listening.